All right, so we are going to look through your Discord questions and answer the things that are most important to all of you. Like I said, there's no wrong questions. If we're horribly offended by it, I just won't answer, but it's very hard to offend me, so I encourage you to try to figure out how to offend me. I'm excited to see what you've got.
How do you tackle the ideas generation process at the very beginning of a new project?
I struggle, as do we all, I believe, with coming up with ideas. I think, for me, there's three things that help me out the most. Thing number one is looking to real life. So like I just said, I was struggling coming up with an idea for a cover, and I said, wait a minute, that's a real life thing that someone would really go through. Bill Cipher could do that. Bam, I've got an idea from observing my own ridiculousness. But you don't have to observe your own ridiculousness. Friends, family, politicians, enemies, especially family in particular, they will give you human observations, and it'll be more raw and real than anything you can come up with. The second step is, once you've got observation, marry it with imagination. Just come up with nonsense, right? Fill a page with the dumbest things you can think of. Ask yourself, what's an animal I've never seen before? What's a type of weapon I've never seen before? What's a vehicle? Take two things that already exist, jam them together. That's the invention part. So observation first, invention second, put them together. And then the third thing for me for the idea generation process is collaboration. So take your combination of making fun of your mom and your weird weapon that you just designed that was like a fork duct taped to a taser, and then show that story to a friend, or even better, an enemy, and say, what do you think? They will say, oh, I'll look at it soon, and then never get back to you. So find somebody who talks to you regularly and get feedback from them. And chances are they will have something about it that sparked them. They'll say, oh my gosh, my mom does the same thing. She also puts way too much pressure on me. That's amazing. And then they might say, I'm really confused how the sport taser works. And then you might swap that out and keep iterating, keep showing it to them, keep changing it. Usually those three steps help me out. If that's not working, look at other art, music, read books that you don't even think you're gonna like. Just try to shake your brain up, and it might have something new for you. That's how I handle it.
What part of the creative process is your favorite when you're working on a new project?
My favorite part of the creative process is everything except for the process itself. So the beginning, when I'm telling everyone how great it's gonna be, is awesome, and then torture for months and months and months. And then the end, when I get to make silly commercials and tweets and promos for it. So it's, to me, like, creation is sort of like a labor process. Everyone likes having a baby, everyone likes making a baby, no one likes delivering a baby, but it's necessary, unfortunately.
What is, in your opinion, the best way to meet other people in the industry?
You all are doing it right now. Going to one of these events, so congratulations to all of you. I would say the best way to meet, I mean, the industry has transformed so much since I was the ages of many of the rosy-cheeked young lads and ladies I see in front of me. You know, I think that right now, y'all have something that I didn't have when I was coming up in the industry, which is like, you have the entire internet and all of these social media art sharing platforms. Now these platforms, if you spend too much time on them, will make you hate yourself because you'll be comparing yourself to everybody who's better than you, and you'll gradually go insane, and that will make you feel bad, which will make you want something to soothe you, which will make you go back on the website in an addictive loop over and over again. So, they can be dangerous, but they're also a great place to meet artists. So like, for this book, for example, there's so many folks who I'd never worked with who I saw their art on Instagram, and I just bookmarked it, and then made a little folder that said, awesome artists. And then when it was time to make a new book, these are folks who, I don't know if they went to art school, I don't know if, I've never seen their portfolio, so to speak, I don't know what part of the world they're in. I know their work is really exciting. And so if you reach out to people whose work excites you, and you share your work with them, and you get yourself out there, that's probably the main thing I would say. It's like, don't hide your work. It's never gonna be perfect. Let that imperfection be a part of it. Share your process, share your imperfection. Put the thing online that you kind of hate, and then put something else that you think is a little bit better, and keep showing it and sharing it with people, and people will get invested in your journey. Like, for me, just like saving, following, interacting with people who are like-minded has helped me meet folks in this industry better than anything else.
Oh, that's brilliant. Also, that means put your work on Instagram immediately, everyone.
Everybody? Send me your art after this. I'll see infinite art. You'll think Alex didn't look at my art. He hates me. I did look at your art. I don't hate you. There's just so many of you. But eventually, I might call and get up to ask and work on something because I'll see it and I'll remember it and I'll put it in the bookmark for me.
We've got a childhood question, so take you back. When growing up, what movies and shows and other media inspired you to where you are now?
Movie shows and other media. I want to answer this one quickly because it will show how old I am. Growing up, was a big fan of the comic strip Calvin and Hobbes. I was a big fan of The Simpsons because both of those things were very playful and ridiculous, but they also had something in there for kids and adults. I could tell there was something in there that I didn't get, and as a kid, I really liked something that seemed like it was smarter than me because it made me into a little treasure hunter. I said, I want to know what that reference is. I want to look up what this means. And that feeling that a piece of media is hiding secrets in it is the thing that lights me up in particular. So I've tried to hide as many weird secrets of the stuff I make as possible to sort of light up the antenna of the weirdo kids that are just like I was at that age.
Okay, I graduated a year ago and I'm wondering how long it took you to actually get a job within the industry and what advice you give the people who are trying to get into the industry now.
Okay, so hard work is very, very, very important. Timing and luck also play a part in the animation industry, as all industries. I was very fortunate that when I graduated college, that there was a booming animation market looking for people to sell new television shows. Right now, the animation market is in a bit of a decline, and I will say that these things are cyclical. They rise and fall. When I was in college, there were no jobs, and then just as I graduated, there were jobs, and now there's not a lot of jobs, and it's going to go back up again. What that means for you is the negative side of the slowdown is it's harder to get jobs. There is no positive side, it's all negative. However, I will say, the important thing is, between now and when jobs start to pick up again, you have a little extra time to put a little bit extra work into your portfolio. Make your portfolio bulletproof. Make yourself indispensable. Try to create the best possible work you can. Try to work in all kinds of different styles. Work in styles you hate, because even if you don't get good at them, they'll make you better. Now is the time to fortify your portfolio, because when things start to pick up again, you want to be ready. You don't want to be caught unprepared. So I'll say, keep grinding if you can. I do believe things will get better, but it's going to be a minute.
Can you comment on Grunkle Stan winning the Funko Bunkle?
Security, who asked that question? Well, I mean, who here even knows what they're talking about? Do you guys know about this Grunkles? Yeah, okay, some people know. The rest of you are in for being bored. I guess I'll explain it. What's to explain? There's a meme. Okay, in season 1, episode something of Gravity Falls, they fall in a bottomless pit, they all tell stories, and Grunkle Stan says, I'll tell you a good story. It's called Grunkle Stan Wins the Football Bowl. And then it cuts to him just doing a touchdown and a bunch of football players being like, Mr. Barnes, we thought old folks were useless, but you taught us and our showboating friends a lesson. And then he says, here, give me that football winning trophy. And they roll in a football trophy. It's really stupid. The point is it's stupid. And some enterprising internet person took Stan saying, Grunkle Stan wins the football bowl. And they re-edited him saying, Grunkle Stunkle wins the Funko Bunkle. It's called Grunkle Stunkle wins the Frunkle Stunkle wins the Frunkle Stunkle wins the Frunkle Stunkle wins the Grunkle Stunkle. What does that mean? Nothing. That means a wonderful creative person took observation, something they saw from me, and invention, turning it into gibberish like you had a stroke, and then they shared it with an audience, the internet, and it's turned into this insane meme. So those of you who have not seen Grunkle Stunkle wins the Funko Bunkle, I encourage you, load it up on every device you have, ruin your dates, destroy relationships with your friends and family. Look, I'm very grateful that I've made something that even a decade after it concluded, people are still finding ways to extract joy from it. I'm very grateful for these memes. Whoever you are, brave soul, who made Grunkle Stunkle wins the Funko Bunkle, make yourself known. I will sign anything, object, human or pet you desire. Find me. That's the answer to that question.
Okay, so when it comes to pitching and building a show, what is the most looked over aspect that is the most crucial?
The answer is going to annoy you all because it's the thing I always say, but okay, wait, I got looked over, okay. Keep it short. Make your TV Bible pitch really short because executives have very little time. Most of them are clinically depressed. They're not going to look at it for that long. You just want to quickly get in, get out, entertain them. That's number one. Number two, I know this is obvious, but for the love of God, the characters of your pitch matter more than anything. I know it takes place in an amazing dystopia that's part fantasy and part technology, and it's got references to all these cool old books and poems. That's all fine. People just care about the characters. Like, they just care about, like, oh, this character reminds me of someone I hate or someone I love or an annoying tick that a neighbor does. Like, keep your pitches short, make the characters, like, rock solid entertaining, and you will rise above all the rest of the pitches. Also, put your contact information, for the love of God, at the top of your social media. Because there's a lot of people with great stuff out there where I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna hire them, and their name is like, Jibble Madibble. And I'm like, that's awesome, but do you have a real name or an email or anything? And then they're just like, no, but I do have a 50-page fanfic about Supernatural. And I'm like, that's great! But what's your name? I can't hire you without it! So, short pitch, great characters, put your contact on the top of your social media.
How do you always stay positive about your ideas? How do you navigate between trusting the story and getting bored of it or irritated by the plot holes?
How do you stay positive? I get angry. I am frequently frustrated with every single thing that I do. I find it helps to have a couple different projects at once. So once one project is driving you crazy, you can pop over to the other one, and then when it drives you crazy, you pop over to the third, and then you kind of go in like a nice little circle here from project to project. That certainly helps me. I think the only other thing that really helps me is just like watching stuff that I absolutely love. Because sometimes when I watch like a really kind of crummy TV show or movie, I just think like, well, it's impossible for things to be good, and then I just lay on the floor and don't move for a day or two. Have like a break glass in case of emergency of your favorite shows and movies and songs that when you think it's impossible to create, break the glass, listen to them, watch them, and remember, oh yeah, I love this stuff. Because it's a marathon, not a sprint animation, and you need something to pick you up midway through the process.
What's your process of finding a voice for a character? And do you ever construct a character around a voice?
Yes. Often I start with the voice. I think voices are really important. That doesn't mean you have to be a voice actor, but it does mean keep your ears alert to the interesting and funny and strange voices in your life. So when I created Gravity Falls, a lot of it did come from, okay, well I have my sister yakking in my ear. She's my twin. We literally gestated for 9 months together. We are bonded, and I've heard her my entire life, and I know how to make specific jokes about the things my sister would do. Grandpa Stan was inspired by my Grandpa Stan. So my Grandpa Stan really did have the gravelly, deep, grunkle, stunkle voice. He would have no idea. If he could be alive today to see this grunkle, stunkle, he would be so baffled. I think he'd be proud because it's making money. That would be the important thing. He's like, I don't understand this stunkle, but as long as it makes the stocks go up, then great. I'll join the stunkle market. I'm all in. St. Seuss on Gravity Falls is inspired by a guy who I went to college with named Jesus, who was always at the copy machine fixing it, and then sometimes breaking it, and just sort of going back and forth between, oh, like, the light means it's working. No, light means it's not working. It's a good light, it's a bad light. Oh, I just might burn it down. I'm sorry, dudes. So always listening for those kind of funny rhythms. So I encourage you to do the same. It's certainly helped me. I don't think I would be hired as a voice actor if I just came up in the industry trying to be one. So I use nepotism to hire myself as my own boss. That's not a trick that works on most people. But if you do get a show, you can voice characters. They can't stop you. It's your show.
I've just got one here that's storyboard advice, storytelling advice.
Storyboard advice. Oh, get somebody who's better than you to work for you. I used to be a storyboard artist, so I proved my way up. I climbed up the ladder. Storyboard advice, simple, clear. I boarded the entire Gravity Falls pilot on like sticky notes, like smaller than an index card. And it stopped me from getting extraneous details, so now when I have to fix storyboards, I shrink. I literally take a yellow sticky note, put it on my CT, and then I shrink the storyboard profile down so that it is that size so I can't zoom in, and I try to thumb the whole thing out that way. Would it be simpler to just use real sticky notes? Yes. But that's my weird process. Storytelling advice. Start the story in the middle of conflict. End the story sooner than you think, leaving people wanting more. And a good story starts with a bad decision. Don't worry about making your character too kind or pleasant or likable. Have them screw up. That's what makes interesting stuff happen.
Amazing. Is there any other weird content you wanted to make but couldn't?
Weird content I wanted to create but couldn't. Yeah, I mean, constantly. If I try to answer that, I'll fill this entire 8 minutes and 40 seconds, so let's go to the next one.
Okay. Have you always had a fascination with the weird, macabre, and folktales? When did you realise you wanted to transfer that into your work?
Sometimes artists get into the arts, sometimes, not all. Sometimes they get into the arts because drawing makes more sense than other people. That was certainly how I got into the arts. When I was in elementary school, I was really baffled by just social interaction in general, and found that I would feel a lot safer hiding in the library, drawing in my sketchbook. While in the library, I would pick up books about the Loch Ness Monster and UFOs and unsolved mysteries. I grew up in the 90s, so you had the X-Files, you had Weekly World News. Conspiracies used to be fun and goofy. They used to be like kind of a playful thing in the past, in the 90s. And so the world didn't make sense to me, and I looked for secrets that would make it make sense. And I always thought that if I created things, I wanted to hide secrets in them for other strange kids who maybe were going through a rough patch and needed a project that involved lots of closing the windows and locking the doors and being alone for extended periods of time.
I've got, what's your process of coming up with story arcs? Do you have any tips?
Story arcs. So that's probably like an arc that goes over the course of a whole season, a whole series. When we started Gravity Falls, the Lost finale had just aired. I don't know if any of you guys remember Lost.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the loved show. People were rioting over the ending. They were really, really mad. I've never seen it, so you can't spoil the ending for me. But apparently whatever happened was kind of unsatisfying. So me and my co-writer, Mike, we did a drawing on the whiteboard of the lost airplane crashing, and we said with an arrow that says, "Don't do this." And we wrote down season 1, season 2, and we tried to come up with one question with one answer that we knew that we had before we started. Apparently, apologies J.J. Abrams if you're in the crowd if I'm butchering your story. Apparently with Lost, they had an ending in mind, they knew it, and then when the audience guessed it, they panicked, and then they changed it, resulting in something unsatisfying. We tried to stick to our ending, and when people started guessing it, we just started inventing fake spoilers to try to throw them off the scent. So start with some real answers. You don't need to know everything, but know enough that you won't piss the fans off if you're lucky to get fans.
How do you manage to convince people to get interested in what you're doing?
I'll tweak that question a little bit. Because everyone here is interested in this kind of stuff. That's why we're all here. We love animation, right, folks? There are places where people care, but there are also places where people don't care. I'm sure some of you have gone to Thanksgiving or something and had them say is Shrek real? Just people who don't understand animation at all. I will say, I know there's a fair amount of people in the animation industry who envy the prestige that theoretically comes from live action. They say, oh my God, the Oscars are so important. Everyone's so beautiful. Oh, Martin Scorsese's there. He's important. We want to be important. For me, I just don't care. I don't care about prestige. The secret for me is not caring about prestige. The secret for me is caring about what you love personally. There's no way to make everyone love what you love. But there's no way to make anyone love what you create unless you love it first. So I would kind of focus on making something that you really, really care about. And like I said, talk to trusted friends about it, but the idea of am I gonna win an award? Is it gonna be considered as important as some great work of literature? I mean, that's out of your hands anyway. So rather than spending all this time worrying about it, just make something that you think is great. We're making drawings come to life using black magic. What could possibly be more amazing than that? You click record and your hot friend read a monologue. Who cares? What you're doing should be impossible. If you drag someone from the Middle Ages to watch animation and see a mouse dancing and wearing pants, he would vomit and pass out and then pray to you you're his new god for all times. Versus if he saw people on stage being Hamlet or whatever, he'd clap and whatever. But this shit is amazing. So I don't know. Who cares if some people don't like it? As their loss, right? That's my finish.
Is there any advice when it comes to joining unions? Sorry, I did read that before.
Any advice when it comes to joining unions? If you can, do it. Next question.
What is up with Bill and Ford?
What is up with Bill? See, we had to get through all like those before we got to the real stuff. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we've got 2 minutes and 49 seconds. Bill and Ford. Ford is a scientist who wants more than anything in the world to be seen as important. Bill is a monster from another dimension who preys on people with insecurity and makes them feel important to get them to build a portal for him. That's not a healthy relationship. And even though most of us don't know literal demons, although if you do see me after the show, I want to see a photo. I think we all know terrible people. I think we all know manipulative people. I think, like I said before, the things people care about are characters and relationships. So when I was working on the book of Bill, I asked myself, what would the relationship between a demon and his dupe be like? I thought it would be tumultuous, and it might remind me of the worst relationships that friends of mine have described in their lives. That's why I say, take some inspiration from real life. If you're looking for a really, really messy relationship, whether it's between two high schoolers or a trillion-year-old demon and a scientist who just really wants people to think he's cool and would do anything for it, rather than typing demon, maybe type breakup and see what you see online. Next question.
Have an infinite pizza or rather have Lush Hair?
Sorry, could you say that again?
Have an infinite pizza or have Lush Hair?
All right, we're gonna pull the crowd here. Infinite pizza, who says infinite pizza? Give me noise. All right, where are my Lush Hair heads at? Who's got Lush Hair? Whoa, the Lush Hair came in strong. I was thinking pizza, but now before I'm looking at my forehead and if you watch live, you can see my hairline begin to recede. We're gonna have a live receding hairline cam after this. You know what? I'm going with the crowd. I'm going with that Lush Hair. Let's do it.
How did you grow to become comfortable with the weirdness inside of you?
How did I grow to become comfortable with the weirdness inside of you? You can't make it go away. There isn't really a choice. I'm going to spoil the movie Babadook for those of you who haven't seen it. Babadook is a horror movie about a woman who's going through her own various domestic struggles, and then this Babadook guy, this freaky dude with a scary hat, keeps showing up and messing up her nightmares. And normally a horror movie would end with either the Babadook killing her, or her killing the Babadook. But this movie chose a more realistic approach to what we do with the monsters that plague us inside our minds. You see that the Babadook appears to be gone, and then you see her kiss her daughter goodnight, and then go to a trap door in the basement and feed the Babadook fish heads. She learns to live with the monster. That's what I would say to do with your creativity. It's not going anywhere, so you need to invite it inside, feed it, and let it be your friend and eat your enemies instead of eating you. I think we're out of time, folks. Thank you so much for coming out and listening to me rant and ramble and watching my show, and hopefully buying my book in stores now. I'm gonna get a quick 3, 2, 1. Make a weird noise. Thank you so much, everyone, and I'm gonna be doing, like I said, oh my God, I just saw the first baby Bill I've ever seen in a while. Hi.